National Geographic's Oklahoma City bombing, one day in America. It's an unthinkable tragedy, an untold heroism. Today, I have Carrie Isfrin and Amy Downs. Good morning, ladies. How are you?
Good morning.
Morning.
Let me start off with you, Amy. Let's talk about this tragic event in 1995.
I just went to work on a spring morning like I did it every other day. And I worked on the third floor of the Federal Building, sat down at my desk, and a bomb went off that changed my life forever. I ended up, fell 3 floors. I was buried under about 10 feet of rubble. And it took them about 6.5 hours before I could be rescued. 18 of my 33 coworkers were killed. So it was obviously quite a traumatic experience.
Carrie, what made you or moved you to be a part of this?
Before I started working on this, if somebody had said to me Oklahoma City, I think the only thing I really knew about it was that there had been a bomb there. I didn't really know much more beyond that. And then I realized that actually I was too young to really remember what happened. And so, there's my generation and probably a generation below me as well who really don't understand what happened that day. And, it's still to this day the largest domestic terror attack in US history. And so it felt important to really try and create something which serves as a historical record for those who were there, for those who don't know what happened, and to really put the voices of those who lived through it, the likes of Amy, front and center of that, and give them the space to tell their stories.
You know, Amy, it's interesting. When I got this information about this interview, I'm the age of remembering the Oklahoma City bombing, but I completely forgot about it. What do you think about us, you baby boomers, Gen Xers, who remember that day but don't remember that day?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's fair to think that we go through life remembering all of the terrible things that unfortunately we hear and see on the news anymore. But I think this particular event is worth remembering and visiting because there's so much about this from the guarding against the extremism and hatred to the way people can put their differences aside and come together in unity when bad things do happen. And then just seeing the strength of the human spirit, the people, the resilience of the people who lived through it, the courage of the rescuers who rushed in to save lives. I think that part is very inspiring to me.
Any after effects, Amy, as far as either physical or mental or memories?
I have some PTSD issues that I've learned, how to manage and deal with. So there's some, but I have such a happy ending. I got a second chance at life, so I have no complaints.
Let me get to you, Carrie. I was thinking about what she just said as far as remembering things. Were you, I don't know how old you were. You were pretty young probably when this happened. But here we are today. What do you think of, the younger generation and what they think about terrorism, or if there's even thinking about terrorism or anything happening, not only with the Oklahoma City bombing, but 9/11?
I guess my intention with this series, I think the best way to learn in the present is to really look back at the past and reflect on it in a way that you really feel and hear the experiences of people like Amy who went through something like this. And, the series is very raw, and some of the footage and some of the accounts is quite unflinching. And we wanted that to be, we did that quite intentionally because it's only through really grasping what people lived through that day and the horrors of it that you really understand just how remarkable the resilience that came after, the resilience that, the likes of Amy still show today, just how remarkable that is. And I think whether, however old you are, I do think the best way to understand something is by listening to those first-hand accounts and really feeling what they went through. So hopefully that's what we've tried to do with this series.
Speaking of the series, I'm going to ask both of you to answer this question. Amy, you first. What do you want the audience to take away from it? And again, you talked about history, Carrie. What can we learn from history?
I think it's important to look back and see, you know, what caused this. How did we respond in the face of evil? And just to be reminded again of that we are stronger than we think we are, and we have so much resilience, you know, to get through tough times, and the power when people do come together to support one another.
Yeah, we interviewed President Bill Clinton as part of the series, and I actually think he puts it quite well in the series, where he says that, you know, our differences are important, essential even, but not at the cost of common humanity. And that actually what, you know, the bomber did that day was show what happens when you forget that common humanity. So I hope that the series does spark conversations about the dangers of extremism, but also, as Amy says, you know, to really remind people that differences are good and that we can disagree well.
I like that last part you talked about, you know, coming together as your humanity, and we really need to. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate the work you've done on this. Amy, Second Life Chance, Carrie, thank you again for joining us on Morning Blend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.